so I think we should continue with our second presenter, Dr. Andrej Brodnik. He's a professor at University of Primorska and University of Ljubljana, among many other areas. His research interests also focus on the teaching of computation and informatics. And during his career, he has received many awards, including the award for outstanding achievement in higher education of the Republic of Slovenia. And just last year, he was awarded the prestigious Michi Turing Award for his lifetime achievements in computer and information science. So, please.
Good afternoon to everybody. On the late Friday afternoon, everybody is looking forward to go home, right? Friday nights are important for everybody, also for the private life, right? So I'll try to be as short as possible. And moreover, although I would like to discuss about the things which were brought up by Marco, I will not discuss about them because I would like to follow my own agenda, and then in the round table we might want to discuss the whole thing. The point about the whole thing, here we go. It's this thing here. Whatever we are doing was done already before, somehow, in some other form, some other way. And I would like to show that this history, who is a big teacher, well, almost as big as love, is also important for our life's achievements, right? Now, I never went to the classical gymnasium. I like Latin very much, so next thing which I'd like to talk about is what we are talking about, right? And also, Laura already presented education and AI combination. I found this interesting book, and I would really recommend you to go through it. And also, it will be it was very inspiring for me, you know, because important thing. Oh, by the way, you can make the pictures, you can make photos, whatever. At the end, there is a QR code for a real location where you can download the slides from. Okay, so the whole idea about AI is, which I would like to pursue in this talk, is mostly that AI is, well, yet another technology which appeared. It's different than previous technologies, but it is technology which humans are trying to use for their life and to make their life easier. Now, if you're looking to this one, I just took one short quote from the introduction, and it says that AI might, where is this might? Important, disturbing contribution to the debate on AI, because how many might affect teachers and students, how do they engage in education. And that's the important thing. The education stays there, whatever we are talking about. AI is just technology which helps in education. And we have to also think about it this way, and also think about the technology as being fostering the education process itself. What is actually the title of this conference anyway? But the whole thing has a very big underlying important issue, subject to the teacher's knowledge. If the teacher is not knowledgeable enough, right, then this technology doesn't help him. I mean, you can imagine that if you don't know how to switch on the overhead projector 30 years ago back, right, you couldn't use it for your education, but it was quite an important thing. So what is behind the whole thing? What is this knowledge which we need to have, or which is actually driving the whole technology issue? I like this proceedings from Digital Humanism. It's a very nice collection of the papers of the conference, which was in Vienna back in 2022. And it was talking about the technology and technology versus humanities. And I think this is a very important issue, because technology is here just for the humans, not vice versa. And to understand this, I think that's quite kind of interesting thing. And let me do it this way, okay? because I can't see that far. Because what is important thing is here, like this one, this is a very important notion which was came up with in the 20th this conference. Namely, it was the first time in the history of mankind that we got an engine, machine, which didn't help us only in the physical work, but also in the mental, intellectual work. And this is happening since mid-20th century when the first computers appeared. And this is kind of a new way of thinking about the artifacts produced by the humans. Humans were producing machines and engines before, and they were used for, I don't know, plowing, for driving, whatever. But this time, this thing is actually helping to do the intellectual work. Again, the same subject to our knowledge and skills. The machine can do the intellectual work for us or can help us to do it, but it's everything. It depends on our knowledge about the use of this machine. ChatGPT, as Marco was describing, can do the work, but we have to know how to do it. So the next few questions will look like out of scope, but still, let me try to go through this thing. Let's pretend that we are back in, that our values are back to like 60 years in 1960s, okay? So one of the things which engine is around us are cars, and locomotives and so on. So I would like to ask you the following question. Who had physics as a subject in a primary school? Can you raise the hands? More or less everybody, right? You didn't have. It was science, yes. In UK system, it's science. It's part of science, yes, of course. Who had the physics in the high school? Right, great. Why do we have this physics? Who studied physics at the college? Well, those who went to the social sciences and humanities usually not, but the rest, yes. So who has never come across any subject of physics? No raised hand, okay? Is there one hand raised? No? So what is physics? Why is physics so important? Why did everybody learn physics in his or her lifetime? Somebody realized that this is kind of the thing which kind of stands behind the something what is important to have, okay? Don't forget we are talking about history as great teacher of our life. So let's see, let's try to do something. James Watt, okay? Everybody heard about James Watt? Okay. Have you heard of him? Yes, okay. What important did he do? Did we learn something about that? You remember what he did? He invented something what is called a steam engine, right? And do you know how does it work, the steam engine? At least in principle? Yeah, kind of. Where did we learn this? In physics, right? What about this guy? Have you heard of him? Yeah. What did important he do? Well, it's electrical engine. In fact, he invented something what is kind of important thing, right? And how does this engine work? Do we have an idea in principle at least? Kind of yes, right? The problem is that we heard about these things because we believe the same way what Isaac Newton said, like 500 years later after Bernard of Chartres, that he invented the new things because he was standing on the shoulders of the giants. And we are learning from the history for our future life. Okay? Now let's proceed with our survey. Did anybody hear about this guy? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What important did he do? You are out of scope. So most of the people never heard about the computer architecture. But do you understand? Do we know that this machine, which is here, yes, this one here, all of them are looking the same, and they look the same way as John von Neumann actually in 40s back. That's like 70 years ago, coined the architecture. But we never heard of him. Do we know how does this thing work? That's kind of the more the problem. What about this guy? He was on one of the slides today already, right, Laura? Exactly. Yes, he he got Turing's award in '71 for the chess game with the AI solution. Well, he had also some other problems with the society, but that's it. Okay, now do we know how does it work? Well, if we never heard of him, we can't also know how does it work, right? Let's proceed. What about this one? Heard of him? Well, there's one Andrej, but she's completely out of scope because she studied computing. Anybody else heard of it? Oh, you heard of what? You heard of him? So, what important did he do? Huh? Yes, but what did he do? Internet. He is father of internet. Yes, exactly. He got Turing's award from 2004. But we never heard of him. How come? And this is a society which we are living in. Everywhere, internet is everywhere. Well, the next question is how does it work? I will skip this one. What about Martin Hellman? Mayonnaise, right? Well, what important did he do? Mayonnaise, right? Actually, he did something completely different. He also got the Turing Award 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and he invented the certificates. Actually, due to him and his work, we can do internet banking. Never heard of him, right? Strange enough, but we are all doing internet banking. How do we do this? Okay, so what about the computing in primary school? Who had the computing in primary school? 1, 2, 3, 4 hands, okay? Who had in computing in high school? Slightly more, right? College? You see, important thing is, which I would like to emphasize, is that the number of hands raised in the college level is much higher than the primary and secondary school. Why? Because everybody who is nowadays doing whatever he is doing needs computing, needs to know how to use the digital technology. So what is computing? This is the statement by our Ministry of Digital, what's it called, transformation, digital, whatever, something ministry. And she basically said that, no, we don't need the computing in the schools. Why do we don't need it? Well, because we learn about the electricity, but we don't have electrical engineering as a subject in our primary schools. Okay, that's fair enough. But let's look from the different perspective. Electrical engineering we don't have in a primary school, but we do have physics, don't we? We raised all the hands. We did all the gym with the physics, right? So on the other hand, we don't need to have digital technology as such, but we would need to have something to learn how this technology works, because otherwise we can't explore it and use it as much as we can. And don't forget, digital technology or computers are connected with the computer science as much as it is astronomy to the telescopes. Telescope is an engine used in astronomy, but it's not astronomy. Now, talking about the computers as part of the computing, yes, it is used for this, but not really for that. Now, we came to a certain point that we understand that we need to have some kind of a knowledge or skills which will help us to do the work in 21st century. let's look at from different perspective. We are still at a statement about the history being a good teacher, right? This is from Michael Manske paper on Slovenia in 1991. In 1991, Slovenia represented approximately 1/13 of population and generated a good third of export from former Yugoslavia. Right? History is a teacher, right? How does it work? Well, if we are looking at the picture of the industrialization of former Yugoslavia, it's patchwork of different areas, but nothing really special. But another picture is astonishing. This one here, it's about the literacy. And this is back in 31. Why the heck was literacy so high in this green part? I mean, Austro-Hungarian Empire was also part, Croatia, northern Serbia, everything was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire. But the literacy there was pretty low. Now kicks in the history. This is Europe in 1789, and where is this? This is Austro-Hungarian Empire, and this part here, which is called Silesia, used to be part of Austro-Hungarian Empire, but it was taken by whom? By Prussians. Why? Because Maria Theresa came to the power after dying of his father, and he was not strong enough to resist the neighboring countries. So what did she do? Well, she started to do reforms. And one of the first reforms has a 250 years anniversary today. It's called the education reform. And it was just in Austria, well, this is in German written, whatever it's written, it's just the Austrian part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which now explains why the literacy range in this part, which is part of Austria, was higher than the rest of the country. Okay? So how did reform work? Well, the reform work, this is again yet thing which we can learn from. In Article 3 of the reform, this is from the Slovenski Čas paper in 26th of March, and the Article 3 actually leveled all the knowledge in the former, in that part of the kingdom. Why? Because there was a requirement not to make any divide between the parts of the Austrian Empire. And the second part was how the curriculum was consisted. It consisted of 4 parts. First one was religious education. Okay. The second part was reading, writing, and arithmetic. This is kind of the basic stuff which you have to learn. And then the third part was preparation for profession and for education. And we had the 2 kinds of the schools. One kind of the school was just required to have these 2 parts, and the rest was this part. So, what about that? Arithmetic, reading, writing, and arithmetic. This is the second part. This is kind of the basic knowledge that everybody has to have to survive in the 18th century. 3 R's get C for computing. Wow, this is something somebody wrote like in 2020, right? Or something like this. No, it was written back in 82. New York Times in 82 said, we need C for computing. And this is something what brings us to the expression of computational thinking, which I guess Irena will be talking more about. The computational thinking, like Laura said before, AI has the origins before also computational thinking. It has origin in 80s, in 90s, and it was brought back in 2006, and this is actually the way that humans should think that they can be that they can talk to the machine, put it this way. And we really need to learn how to talk to the machine, because machine is stupid. Whatever we do, we need to talk with her about these things, okay? Now, the second part is the preparation for profession. And actually, Laura already mentioned in States, no, in UK, we have just a science, and science consists of physics, chemistry, and biology. Now the science is actually expanded by computing. And computing is becoming something what used to be physics in 20th century, it's physics of 21st century. And we need this education. Why? Because otherwise we are not able to use the digital technology which is occurring anywhere in the world. Just note, everybody, not IT specialists, not computing specialists, everybody needs this knowledge. Just for the sake of example, let me give you, let's look at the Nobel Prize winners in 2022. The first one is for the physics. Surprise, it's pioneering quantum information to science. Wow. Nothing to do, well, use of the physics in quantum computing. The second one is for chemistry. It's something on a click chemistry. The click chemistry, very simply said, is first compute everything in silico and then start to do the thing in vitro because it's cheaper, faster, and much more efficient. Can you do it without this knowledge of the computing? No, you can't. And that's the reason why everybody raised a hand in having computer science or informatics at the college. And now the problem is, which we will come up later, is the third is about the peace. And the peace is actually three-partite from Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. And actually what they did, they created a map recording the events of the horrible war. And again, it's just information technology. So what is at stake? It's a very crucial thing at stake. The question is, shall we be creators or consumers of digital technology? Consumers basically means just use it. Creators, try to understand and make critical thinking about it. Understanding or just following? Here it is, use it. Or understand and then make your own decision to use it or not. Ultimately, we are asking which part of on which side of digital divide do we want to be? On the one which just uses the technology, or on the one which creates technology and uses it with a deep thought about the thing. So the question is the well-being of our children, and this is where the whole thing kicks in. In 2013, ITSILS made a very interesting research, and they were asking students at grade 8 to use the computers for solving the problems, whatever they are. And it turns out that 4% of Polish children were able to solve the most difficult problems, but Slovenian just 0.4. Why the heck? The reason is that Polish students have something what is called informatics from the first grade on the primary school, and our kids have no association with the computing technology at all. And this basically concludes the talk. Here is the promised QR code. And don't forget about this thing, what Woodrow Wilson said. But it is our duty for our children to do something about it. Thank you very much.